Hello and welcome to episode 197 of the Juicebox Podcast. Today we go over the ocean to talk to Alena. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Dexcom, Omnipod, and Dancing for Diabetes. You can go to dexcom.com/juicebox, myomnipod.com/juicebox, or dancing4diabetes.com. All these links are in your show notes and at juiceboxpodcast.com.
Hi, I'm Alena. I'm from Czech Republic, but I live in the United Kingdom, and I'm type 1 diabetic since I was 15.
So how old are you now?
I'm 22 now.
22. So that's easy.
7
years, right?
Yeah.
How easy was that? And so, 7 years with type 1 since you're 15. Now, how long you were born in the Czech Republic? How long did you live there until school?
Until I was 21, so I moved to UK to do uni, which I'm still doing now.
Right. So you've only been in the UK for a year going to school?
3 years. I'm third year now, yeah.
3 years, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, well, yeah, let's forget the math. 3 years I'm in England.
We should definitely forget the math. That's a great idea, actually, because diabetes goes much better when you forget the math. Here's one thing you don't want to forget. Nothing you hear on the Juicebox Podcast should be considered advice, medical or otherwise. Always consult a physician before making changes to your medical plan. You were in Czechoslovakia when you were diagnosed?
Sorry to correct you. It's not Czechoslovakia.
It's the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Just call it Czech.
Czech.
So I know you're from America and probably
old.
Mainly the people are from America. So Czech Republic is a small country in the center of Europe, and it's next to Germany, which you all probably know.
Perfectly. You are assuming a lot, but I appreciate your confidence. And so, okay, so you're diagnosed there. What was it like being diagnosed there?
Right. So my diagnosis was at the beginning of school year, and because it was like that, it was in September, and I was going to the toilet a lot and very thirsty. I definitely lost weight, but I didn't notice. I was definitely tired, but I was blaming going to school again. And so me and my mom went to just a practitioner. So we thought it may be some kind of infection or something like that. And I went without a breakfast because, you should do that if you are getting blood tests done sometimes.
Right.
So we expected that, and the doctor checked my blood sugar. And it was, I've got a table here, so I can speak in your unit. It was around 270.
About 270. And what is it in your measurement?
15.
15, okay.
Yeah, I feel like the point something is not that important. Around 270, 15 for something.
Really high.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that high.
Right.
But it's high for a healthy person.
Sure.
And so was sent to the hospital without the doctor actually telling us what's wrong with me.
Oh, really?
Let's
stop there for a second. So you go to the doctor feeling pretty horrible.
I didn't feel that bad. So I was on NDKA. So I was like, I'm just really thirsty and go to the toilet a lot.
Okay. So you've got all these weird things going on you can't quite put your finger on. And the doctor tests your blood, gives you a blood test, and then without giving you any other information says, hey, I think you should go to the hospital now?
Yeah.
Did you drive yourself?
No, I was with my mom. So back home, we can drive from the age of 18.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom was driving. And then I think they took my blood, and the doctor, I remember her, she wasn't nice or comforting at all. She was like, your daughter has diabetes. That's it. It's forever. And my mom was really upset and shocked. But so we don't have diabetes in my family.
Right.
But her dad had type 2 diabetes. So she thought, oh no, she'll have to take pills and be on a diet for the rest of her life. Right. She didn't even imagine injections.
Yeah, how great would it have been if it was just pills and a diet, actually, right?
To be honest, I have issues to be consistent when taking pills, even like some supplements. So, I mean, yeah.
Well, I'm so interested in the car ride from the doctor to the hospital. Did you guys?
I can't remember that much, to
I
be
was
honest.
gonna say it must have been like frazzling, right? Like,
yeah.
why are they making me go to the hospital? Like that was.
I mean, I don't think I was questioning it. I was just like, I wanted to know what's going on.
Okay.
But I'm not sure how it goes in America. But for me, I had to be in the hospital for 5 days. Even though I wasn't in DKA, it was the transition from normal life to taking injections.
So it's sort of like it's like a diabetes diagnosis vacation. You get to hang around the hospital for a few days while they let you know how everything's going to work out. So when you leave there at 15 years old, what kind of technology or what did they give you to manage yourself with?
So it's not going that well. So I was just given pens. So at that point, it was that you change the pen fill with insulin. Yeah. So it's like the one that you can disable to 2 bits, and you just change the pen fill. And basically, because it was months before my 15th birthday. I was actually 14, but yeah, it was close to that. Even though my parents were there for a lot of the explaining, I was the one who was going to be managing my diabetes.
Okay.
And my parents actually never gave me an injection.
That must have been strange, right? Like, did they just make an announcement? They were like, okay, this is yours. You're going to take care of this?
Kind of, yeah. So I remember it was the syringes, the plastic ones first, and then we transitioned to pens. And then they originally planned that I can't leave hospital without my parents injecting me at least once.
Okay.
But somehow that didn't happen. And
fake snuck out.
No, it wasn't like they mentioned it, but then no one really cared that much.
Followed up on it, yeah.
And then for my mom, it's like injecting her child, so she was never keen on that, and she's quite sensitive. And for my dad, he never was interested in injecting me, and I never asked him to because I feel like, my dad's got big hands, and so yeah.
You thought he'd be clumsy with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I left with 2 pens, 2 types of insulin, and with glucometer. Mm-hmm. That was it. And so the insulin, I'm still actually on the same insulin I was.
Which one?
It's Lantus for the long-acting, and I just forgotten the name of the daily one. Let me check.
Absolutely, do not worry. The other day, I searched for a word during a conversation and just could never find it and had to eventually bail on it and just say to people, I'll think of it later and walk away, which was incredibly embarrassing.
Right, so the other one is actually Actrapid, which is something you probably never heard of. And it's not the fast-acting one, but it's the regular one.
Okay.
Which I found out about quite recently. So, for those who don't know, it lasts up to like 7 to 8 hours, and it takes about 30 minutes to start working.
So you're still using...
yeah.
Can you spell it for me?
Yeah, I'll have it. So it's ACTRAPID.
Actrapid.
Yeah.
I'm Googling.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees Googling on a podcast is very, very exciting. Okay, so
that's all right.
Yeah. UK units solution human.
So it's more complicated because you can't. So I still have the pen I got 7 years ago where I changed the pen fill. I mean, it's quite a good one. And I still get my insulin from Czech Republic.
Right.
I'll get to that later, I think.
Well, let me just jump in for people who on the not European side. When Alena says pen fill, she's talking about the cartridge that goes into the right,
yeah.
Which is cool. Don't worry, I just want to make sure everybody's following along. And you get your insulin from Czech. Okay.
Yeah.
This is so much fun. Okay, all right. So, do you live by yourself in the UK now? Because you're in university.
I'm living student accommodation with 3 girls.
Okay. Oh, that sounds I don't know how that sounds. Is that any good?
No, it's all right because I've got my own room.
Okay, good.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
that sounds okay then. And so why do you? All right, hold on. Let's slow down for a second because my mind just raced ahead of the story. Okay, so you've got this insulin, you've got the glucose meter, and your parents are not really getting too involved, I would imagine, at all. Did they tell you to count carbs, or were you just?
So I was taught we call them exchangeable units for carbs. That one unit is 12 grams of carbs, and so you have this meal plan, for example, that for breakfast you have 4 units, which is 48 grams of carbs, and you can theoretically eat whatever as long as it's 48 carbs for your breakfast.
So you shoot the insulin, eat the food. When do you ever check your blood sugar after that?
So what I was taught was to check my blood sugar just before main meals and then before sleeping. So 4 to 5 times a day.
How did that end up working out? Like, do you get your A1C checked on a regular basis?
Yeah, well, that's complicated now too.
That's okay. I like complicated. So go ahead. Well, how did you find that process of checking 4 or 5 times a day and just shooting and then doing the carb exchange?
I was taking it quite all right. So I'm quite unsensitive to high blood sugar levels. I don't really get any symptoms, not that I know of. And even though I was told to pre-bolus, I never seen it. Well, we will get to it. So by that time, I never seen it. So I was like, oh, well, whatever. And I wouldn't pre-bolus, really.
Okay.
Which I understand is not ideal now.
You're getting there.
So yeah, I was doing it, and I thought it's working, but so my parents didn't have any real input. But and my endo, we call them something else, but my endo was, so she was looking in like a paper diary where I would write my blood sugar levels. But so at first I was filling it as I was going, but eventually I would fill it the night before the appointment.
Just making up some numbers, or did you actually get the numbers from your meter?
So the plan was to get them from the meter, but there was one more issue with it. So even though my parents were not really involved in like the decisions of how much insulin and so on, so there was this situation when I was home and we were getting lunch, and my dad asked me what my blood sugar level is, and sadly from my point of view now, it was around 200, 250. And sometimes it would be my fault that I was like snacking or something like that. But often it wasn't, or not that I was aware of it as it being my fault.
You were doing what you expected was supposed to work, and your blood sugar would still go up.
Yeah, and my dad would say, oh, that high, with like a very specific reaction.
Right.
And that was causing me some kind of anxiety. So eventually in such situations, I would be like, yeah, it's all right. And I wouldn't tell it to him. And then my dad was the one who was driving me to my endo and was still in the room.
Okay.
So to avoid this reaction, I was lying to my endo about my numbers. And that went for a few years. And I can't really recall any A1C numbers, but I was always somewhere all right. Until recently, I never cared what the number was exactly. So as long as the doctor said, yeah, it's still good, I was fine with it.
The holidays are here, and it's the time of year when you're thinking about other people. But you can't let that get in the way of caring for yourself. So if you've been thinking about taking better care of yourself, thinking about making an upgrade to your diabetes care plan, don't let this holiday season slow you down. It really will only take a moment today to go to dexcom.com/juicebox to find out more about the continuous glucose monitor that Arden has been using forever. We talk about it here all the time, but Arden's A1C has been between 5.2 and 6.2 for 5 years, with 0 food restrictions. And much of how we accomplish that is with the data and the information that comes back from Arden's Dexcom G6. Now you're going to love the arrows that tell you what direction your blood sugar is moving in. You're going to love that those arrows tell you how fast your blood sugar is moving. You're going to love seeing the trends and how insulin and food affect you. You're going to take all that information and you're going to make better decisions tomorrow than you made today. Those decisions are going to keep your blood sugar in a more stable range, and before you know it, you're going to have that A1C as well. Do yourself a great favor. Go to Dexcom.com/Juicebox or click on the links in the show notes or Juiceboxpodcast.com. Go find that freedom. Go find that confidence, that comfort. Make this a wonderful holiday season. Make it the time you decided to make a change. I know you feel busy right now, but you're never too busy for this. Dexcom.com/Juicebox. Results mentioned are ours. Yours may vary. Those visits for you weren't so much about like figuring things out or fine-tuning your health. It was just about going in and having somebody not be completely disappointed. And if they were like, hey, right on, it's not so bad, then you'd leave and go, oh, it's not so bad, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I can't actually remember the numbers, but I think it was somewhere around 8, so which is like not so bad, but not what you want.
Yeah,
and
I hear what you're saying. I do understand that.
So there was one point where they started downloading the numbers from the meter, and I had a discussion with one diabetic nurse because she was a diabetic too, and she was like, "Hey, these numbers don't match up." So I had to face it.
Did you go, oh, they don't? That's crazy.
No. I panicked and I was like, I want to speak to the nurse in the room without my dad.
Okay, so you confessed. You were like, I'm going to confess, but as long as my dad's not here. I got you.
Yeah. And then something else started happening. I was low in iron. So as part of like my usual blood test, the doctor would check for the markers that are for the celiac disease. And I was told that people with celiac disease have like numbers around hundreds or even thousands, and mine's were like 30. So she wanted me to go to that thing when you swallow a tube and they look inside.
That sounds fun.
You know what I mean?
Journey to the center of the earth?
Well, the name is not important. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm fine. I don't have any problems. I'll take iron supplements. And then when I turned 18, I changed the doctor. And they were like, hey, you need to get this checked. And I went to that horrible experience. It takes 5 minutes, feels like 5 years. Mm-hmm. And they found out I've got celiac disease. And so they also take a biopsy sample of your gut. I think it's gut. I'm not sure about the terminology, sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Well,
they take a sample out of something inside of you.
Basically.
Right.
And then it takes 2 weeks. So I was like, okay, cool. I've got 2 weeks to have pizza, pasta, whatever I want to say goodbye in case it's bad news.
You went on a breakup tour with food.
Well, I didn't get there though.
Oh, okay.
So my parents drove me there, and we were walking back to the car, and we got called back from the office. They were like, "You have to come back." Oh. And because there is a camera, and they've seen that it's definitely celiac disease, and they were like, you have to start eating gluten-free immediately.
Oh, you didn't even make it to the parking lot. Okay, all right. Yeah.
So for about 6 months, maybe longer than that, I was eating gluten-free, and it was pain in the ass. And sorry, is that? I know you don't swear.
It's okay. With your accent, nobody will hear it. It's fine.
You understand me though.
I completely understand you. Actually, once in a while, you sound like Adele to me. Isn't that interesting?
That's cool. Thanks.
You're right.
Yeah, if you say so.
No. I've seen Adele live in concert, and once in a while, there's a couple of words where it sounds like that to me. But I have a fairly My ear's not great for accent, but it is. I can understand. I can absolutely understand you. Don't worry.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm just saying we can like later. I could lie and say she didn't say it.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Sorry. So yeah, it was really annoying, and thing was nothing changed. I didn't feel worse. I didn't feel better, and I was like, I can't deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is why. One of the reasons why I want to come to the podcast, because I want to tell people not to do it.
I am proud to be sponsored today by Dancing for Diabetes. Until a cure is found, Dancing for Diabetes will be there for all of us. Go to dancing4diabetes.com.
And if they get diagnosed with celiac disease, please eat gluten-free. So after about six months or so, I had full pizza. I didn't die. So I was like, yep. Let's not do this anymore. And I was eating normally again.
So you just gave up and went right back to it. And what happens? What happens when you eat, using pizza as an example? When you eat pizza and you have celiac, what happens? What? To
me personally, I've got the type of celiac disease that I don't have any symptoms other than lower iron. But basic, so in your gut, it's autoimmune disease, and basically, your body is reacting to the gluten in inflammatory response. So not only it's bad for your body that it's inflamed all the time, but so in your gut, it's inside it's wrinkled. I don't know if you know that or anyone knows that. Inside it's wrinkled, so the surface is bigger and you absorb more nutrition.
Okay.
However, if you have celiac disease and you eat gluten, how is your body fighting with it there? It gets smooth, and you don't absorb nutrients. Yeah.
So what's happening to you is while you're eating and not having any symptoms like stomach pain or something that other people do have, you're still not absorbing the correct amount of nutrition. So when you eat the foods your body can't deal with, you're hurting yourself in other ways.
Yeah, okay. Yes, but I don't know about it, and it takes a lot of time for it to heal. Mm-hmm. So it's not like week without gluten will help.
Okay.
So for a couple of years, I was normally eating gluten until last summer. So I went to Greece for this thing, party and stuff. Details are not important. However, I got sick, and I was throwing up, and I had diarrhea. But I was like, I'm not letting anything ruin this. However, I've got quite strong stomach, so I was like, wait, I'm throwing up. This is not like what my body does whenever I'm sick. Mm-hmm. And here I would also like to say that I was naive, and I thought that DKA is only for newly diagnosed people. So I didn't really care about DKA.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
No. So you're at an extra, let's call it a party in Greece.
It was working holiday. Yeah.
Working holiday, right? Which might be the name of this episode. So you're on a working holiday, and things are ingested, and you. And so you get so you're now sick in a way that you're not accustomed to with your celiac.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
But because of the trip, I want to make sure I understand, and the fun that was trying to be had, and you're feeling that you have like a strong stomach, you were going to persist and just keep doing what you were doing.
No.
So you gave up?
No, I like generally have a strong stomach, so it was suspicious that I'm throwing up.
I see.
So I was meant to be there for 4 weeks, and after like 2.5, I started getting sick. But in Greece, on the islands, you are not allowed to drink the water because, I don't know, it's just not drinkable.
Okay.
So I thought maybe in the drinks I was getting, they made the ice from the tap water to save money.
I see.
So it could be that, yeah. So when I was there, I went to like the doctors there. I was on a drip for like 2 hours because I was obviously dehydrated. And the lady thought it's just that water bug or whatever that is. So I was like, I don't feel well. I got antibiotics from her, which I can't be on sun with. I was recommended to eat just plain food, potatoes, pasta, bread, tea. And I was like, I can't have this here. There's no point. So I arranged a flight to go home. And I was already feeling weak. So I would get slightly dizzy or would have to like slow down. And I got home. My mom told me I looked terrible. And they were like, do you want to go to the doctor? I was like, no, that's all right. Today we'll go tomorrow to just the practitioner. So I spent one night at home and I went to my practitioner. She sent me to the hospital again. She was like, this is not looking good. Mm-hmm. And they kept me at ICU for 2 weeks.
So what had happened? Were you just, was your situation just degrading because you weren't taking a nutrient?
No. So I was in DKA, and because I was eating gluten, even though I knew I shouldn't be, my body was holding up for a long time, but still wasn't getting the nutrition it needed. Mm-hmm. So it was holding up. And then I went to Greece, and the change of conditions was like the last thing, and it all went down very quickly. And I was very, very lucky that I didn't end up with any consequences out of that.
Yeah, especially because you're away from home and out of the country, and by yourself.
Like I got to the hospital and they took my blood, and the doctor was looking at the paper, and he was like, "I'm surprised your kidneys haven't failed yet."
Oh. That's fun to hear. So were you testing your blood sugar during this time on your own?
Yeah, but like until last summer, my approach to diabetes was like test, inject, whatever. I didn't really care much. I was like, yeah, this is working. I mean, I'm high.
And by working, you meant I haven't fallen over yet. So
no, well, I didn't feel bad.
Yeah.
So because I don't, maybe it's because I was high often. I lose my symptoms for being high. Mm-hmm. And by high, I mean like around 200. So I was like, yeah, this is fine. I mean, I didn't see it as an issue. And then, it wasn't really bad. So I thought it's working. But something changed in the hospital, and I can't say what, but I started being interested in diabetes. Mm-hmm. And then I joined some Facebook groups. And then I found your podcast, and so my main message is, please, if you got diagnosed with celiac disease, eat gluten-free, even though it's horrible and some of the foods is tasteless. It's important, really. I mean, I was really lucky, and I was also in DKA, so, if I would have fainted somewhere and no one phoned me on time,
well, you are not a good salesperson for gluten-free. You're like, eat gluten-free, even though it's horrible. That's not a good sales tactic. Not good. That would not look good on a poster.
To be honest, in England, there are many more options than in Czech Republic. In Czech Republic, a lot of that food is in boxes. Mm. Make your own bread, make your own muffins, which is something I'm really not interested in as a 22-year-old person.
You're not looking to be baking while you're at school?
No. But I mean, it's definitely doable, and I'm all right with it now. I just had some kind of like rebellious block.
No, I understand. Before. Tell me, let's look back for a second though. You're in the hospital after Greece, and you said you don't really know what happened. You just started being more interested. Can you dig deeper into yourself for that? Like, you really don't know what about that situation that just made you say? 2 weeks from now, Omnipod's going to be back on the show, and we're going to be interviewing them about what's coming up with their new Dash PDM, Horizon Artificial Pancreas, and everything that's coming in the near future. 2 weeks should be enough time for you to get a free, no-obligation demo pod from Omnipod right now, so you could have that experience tucked away in your hip pocket when you hear them talking about what's coming up. By then, you'll know how simple and easy it is to put on an Omnipod, and how while you're wearing it, you don't even notice that it's there. You'll start to really think, wow, I can get an insulin delivery without injections, and I don't have to be connected to any tubing. I don't have to have a thing clipped to my belt or stuffed in my pocket, jammed in my bra. This controller that's connected by this long piece of tubing that goes into the infusion set like every other insulin pump. I don't need to do that with Omnipod because it is absolutely tubeless. You're going to understand all of that. Then they're going to come in, they're going to tell you what's coming up really soon. Your excitement level is going to go boom, through the roof. And you're very quickly going to be like, Omnipod, hurry up, get me out the Omnipods. I got to get involved, baby. This is my time. That's what you'll say. I mean, or something like that in your own voice. Maybe you'll just go, hey, you know what? I really like this insulin pump. I'm going to get it. Maybe it won't be all fireworks and flowers. But I'll tell you what it will be. It'll be tubeless, and you'll have the ability to change your basal rates, have extended boluses, go swimming and shower while you're getting your insulin, play all kinds of sports, and never have to disconnect. myomnipod.com/juicebox with the links in your show notes. Do it right now. Get it on before they come back on the show.
Yeah, so I was genuinely told by the doctors I could have died, which is something I don't think I have processed completely yet.
I see.
So when the doctors were getting my blood levels, I was seriously malnourished. Is the word?
Mm-hmm. Malnourished, yeah.
Yeah, malnourished, sorry.
No.
So that was one thing. So for the first few days there, I wasn't even getting any food. All the food was coming to me through drip. And also listening to your podcast and talking about hospital, and like after that, I was listening to your podcast. Looking at it back, they don't know what they are doing with diabetes either. They wouldn't pre-bolus. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't check between meals. But yeah, it's something really changed, and I'm grateful for it. Because through some Facebook groups, I found Free Libra. I think it's just coming up to America now. It's a blood glucose monitor.
Give me a second. You broke up there for a minute, and I'm gonna disconnect the Skype and call you right back. You're in the hospital and you found something, but I couldn't hear what you said. Like a
I found a flash glucose monitor, a Freestyle Libre.
A Freestyle Libre. Oh, okay. So you're like a glucose monitor.
How we pronounce it? Flash glucose monitor.
Okay. And so is this a finger stick one or the one you hold up and get a reading from?
But it doesn't have alarms. You have to swipe it.
Okay. So it's, I guess if we call a Dexcom a continuous glucose monitor, then this one is a glucose monitor.
It's flash glucose.
Yeah, you have to hold something up to it and then it gets a reading from it, but you don't have to do finger stick. So you found it's not, what do they call it? Is it Libra or Lebra or something? I don't know what they call it.
I think it's Libra.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure, yeah.
Right, so it's a glucose monitor, but it's not continuous. You have to take, like you said, swipe something past the insert that you have, and then it gives you the number. So you get a hold of that, and how does that change things for you?
I think it's life-changing. So from listening to you, I would love to have Dexcom. Okay. But we are already, my parents are helping me with money because I'm final year and I don't have time to work right now. So we are paying for it ourselves. So Dexcom is more expensive. So, I mean, I would welcome the alarms, but this is already life-changing enough.
It's a good step up. It's not the whole thing, but it's a lot more than you had before.
So it's incomparable because like when I got it, I think I had like a flu or something or cold. So my blood sugar was all over the place, and my insulin sensitivity was very low. Like, I needed more insulin.
You needed more insulin. Okay.
Yeah. So that was tough. But when I first got that like straight line overnight, I was over the moon, and it somehow motivates me more because I see the number. Before I check my just finger stick, I see the number. I put it in my bag. But now I see it all the time. So
you being able to see your blood sugar in more real time situations, you feel like, hey, it's going good, and it motivates you to continue. And then when it's not going the way you want, it doesn't get you down. It just motivates you to get back to the other space. Yeah, definitely. Cool. Yeah, like I just my approach to my blood sugar levels changed because I want to see that straight line, or I wanted to see it in my range. I've got set there, and also
So I had a day or two without it in last like 5 months.
Right.
And I was like, yes, I want to be. Wait, I'll pull up my table with your numbers. I want to be about 70 to 90, at least overnight. But I can't do that with finger sticks because when I'm 70 to 85, I don't know where it's heading. And I can't be hanging out around there when I don't know where it's heading.
Right. If you don't see the information coming back to you, then 85 could be 85 and falling. You can't just walk away and go.
Yeah, exactly.
Good,
exactly.
And it's funny you say that. You made me look up. Arden's blood sugar is 84 right now.
Yeah, 84 is amazing, and I'm happy with that when I see what's going on.
Yeah, it is a cool. You're making me look now, so I'm looking at Arden's last 3 hours on her Dexcom, and she's been right at 84, between 90 and 84 for like 3 hours now. It's just it is really comforting in a way that's hard to put into words, really. Because then you feel like you can be more aggressive or sit at a lower number because you feel like, well, if it falls, I'll you don't have alarms with yours, but so how do you handle not having alarms? You just kind of swipe it more frequently?
Yeah, so I think I swipe it around 50 times a day. It was 100 when I got it.
Okay.
Because I pre-bolus, and if I have time to wait, I swipe it until I see the number changing.
Mm-hmm.
Number either heading down or heading down and until it's where I want it to be. So as you are describing the arrows for Dexcom, we've got just diagonal up, diagonal down, straight, or straight up, straight down.
I see. So is it so if you were in a different financial situation, you would want to be able to see it constantly without the swiping.
So the swiping is not, I don't mind swiping, but I would prefer alarms because sometimes when my blood sugar goes up overnight, I see it at the morning and I'm like, oh wow, but I wish I could react to it faster.
Okay. So I've always kind of contended the Libre for me is like testing your blood sugar with a finger stick without the finger stick. Because you can say to yourself, I want to know what my blood sugar is, and pick something up and know. But you don't have to poke your finger or bleed or anything like that, which is an amazing that's an amazing leap from finger sticks for certain. Do you still use finger sticks though?
Rarely. So if I don't feel so in UK, I think you are allowed to dose of Libre,
mm-hmm.
which I would do even if it wasn't allowed, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But it's accurate. It's accurate enough because, as you discussed already many times, there is still some allowed error in both monitoring and finger sticks. So I finger stick only when I feel different than the number says.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. I didn't poke my finger for a couple of days now.
Oh wow, no kidding. I would say that I'm pretty much right there with you. I've been dosing off of Dexcom before the FDA, before the government said it was okay. So, once I trust it, you can trust it then. It's interesting. And then like you said, when you're not sure or you don't feel right, then test and figure it out. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. So how many months have you been into this new way of thinking? It's not long, right?
So it seems like last August, I started looking around, and I've got Libre since November, and I don't want to be without it anymore. It's addictive.
Really, isn't it interesting? You were all those years with just sort of like, okay, I feel okay, and whatever the numbers are, I don't really mind. Then you have this one moment. Do you think it's a little bit about maturity? Or do you think, do you know what I mean? Because at the age where it hit you, I always wonder about that. Is it just, do you think about life differently now that you're older than you did when you were younger?
Yeah, I think it was because diabetes got into my life when you are rebellious. Mm-hmm. So I feel that played a part, that I had to find my own way to things. And now I'm finding that more and more what my mom told me to do, and I was like, no, I'm doing it my way. And then now I'm coming to the fact that she was right.
There's not many stories in the world, is there? And children not listening to their parents is definitely one of them. It is I find myself all the time looking at my children thinking that one of the only things I have for you that is of any real value is the benefit of my experience. And, it's hard to find a way to, in just regular life, to say something to your kids in a way that they'll pick up and accept and find important. But when it comes to this medical stuff, and it's so constant and annoying and irritating like diabetes is, I don't know, it just seems like a really difficult thing. There are times that I think, I wish Arden wasn't diagnosed when she was so young, because, it's more time for her to live without hopefully getting complications later. But at the same time, there's part of me that thinks it is really great that she doesn't remember not having diabetes, because then some of the things we do that are really irritating, they don't strike her the same as they would if she was diagnosed when she was 15.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and then I would like to get to why I'm getting my insulin from Czech Republic.
I would love to know why you're getting it. I just figured there's like an Amazon.com there that works better.
No. So I got here for my uni, and then first time I went home was after 3 months, which was just about right. And I went to my Czech and I got insulin. And so back in Czech Republic, insulin is fully covered by the insurance. However, it's different with stripes. So once you turn 18, you get only 1,000 stripes per year from the insurance, and the rest you have to pay for.
Okay.
I mean, you have to buy it yourself.
I don't understand the phrase stripes. What is that?
No, like finger sticks.
Oh, okay. So you get like 1,000. You get 1,000 test strips.
Test strip, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
And then over top of that, you'd have to pay cash. Are they expensive?
Wait, I can tell you. I think it's about $20 for 50.
Okay. That's under the cost here, I would say, but it's still a lot if you're using a lot. But you're not really using many finger sticks at all at this point.
No, well, yeah, but before that, I was still using just 5 a day, so it wasn't that expensive. So, and then she was allowed to prescribe me insulin for like a longer period of time. So yeah, I mean, I pick up with insulin every time I'm home, basically. But so recently, because you were talking about insulins, and I was thinking about which insulin I'm using, I found out that no one's using the insulin I am, and I was like, wait a minute. So I will want to change that soon, because what's annoying about this one is not only the slow start, like half an hour until it starts working, but also there is like a second like part of the tail, I think about 2 or 3 hours in, it catches a second breath and
it pulls
working again. Yeah.
Right.
So I feel like that's why my diet was set around the unit. So there was like, quote, like compulsory snack, and I think that was like to catch. But until now, still my endo asks me how many units I'm taking for like the main meals, and I'm like, I don't know exactly, because it changes by the meal.
Right.
Like I'm not okay.
You're starting to move towards that idea, but you are going to get slowed down by the way your insulin works. Like if you want to continue kind of trying to embrace the stuff, I guess, that we talk about here on the podcast, like you are going to need insulin.
So I'm already doing that.
Yeah.
Like
it would be easier with different insulin.
Yeah, I think so. So I'll be looking into that. And when it comes to pump, so what on my last endo appointment, it was December, she brought it up. Oh, have you been thinking about a pump? And I was like, I was actually, but I'm not sure it would be entitled by the insurance.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, it's just a matter of sending a letter somewhere, and I would definitely. But it takes 3 days I think 2 nights in the hospital to like adjust your
Oh, they keep you in the hospital to make adjustments to like your insulin to carb ratios and your basal rates and all that stuff. They don't just give it to you.
I'm not sure if they know what carb ratios are. If they are asking me how much to inject in every breakfast.
Oh no, yeah, I guess so, right? Well, listen, I'll tell you right now, if they would give you a pump, I think you could figure it out on your own pretty easily.
Well, I'm sure about it.
Yeah. Don't forget to go to dancingfordiabetes.com. Dancing, the number 4, diabetes.com. Just type it into your browser. You type in dancing, then the number 4, then diabetes, and then dot, which is a period, and then com. Isn't it funny we call a period a dot? But it's a period. Why isn't it dancing for diabetes period com? I guess because that sounds stupid. Okay, so just .com then. So the doctor mentioned a pump, and you were like, yeah, right on, I'm thinking about a pump too. But what are the impediments right now?
That was last December, and I went back to UK, and I've been there till now, last 4 months. And so I want to stay in England and work here, which would mean I would lose the automatic insurance in Czech Republic.
Right.
So there's an option I will have paid out of my own pocket, the insurance. And then the pump will come with that, but then I'll have to be flying there for my supplies. Literally flying.
Wow. So if you stay in the UK, you're not a citizen there.
Oh no. So because it's in the European Union still, I mean they are leaving, but that's still in progress only.
Oh, I see.
So I'll get coverage, like my insulin and probably even test drive.
Right.
But there are different requirements for pumps, and there's much.
I feel like
it would be hard to get it.
I feel like I'm remembering back to an episode I did a while ago for somebody who lives in the UK, and that their stuff is free. If you're
that's free,
right.
But you have to comply within some requirements to get pump. So maybe sometimes your A1C has to be certain thing, and there are some requirements for it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So,
but you are interested in getting a pump.
Yeah, and then actually even before I started listening to your podcast, from some of the Facebook groups, I came across your insulin pump, and I can't remember the name now.
The Omnipod?
The Omnipod, yeah. And I was excited, there's a tubeless insulin pump on the market. I can't believe it.
That's cool.
But it's not in Czech Republic yet, because the thing it's not like we are behind, but when these devices come from English-speaking countries, they have to go through Czech kind of FDA, so they need to comply with the rules, and they have to be translated.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the main thing. It's not like we are third world country, okay?
Well, I happen to know one of the people I know at Omnipod, probably, gosh, it's got to be 6 or 9 months ago now. He moved from America to the UK because they're doing more work there. So you guys should see that stuff coming around, I would think, sooner than later. They are working on making things available more completely around the globe.
I mean, I hope once I get a full-time job that I'll be able to pay for it myself.
Good for you. Well, how much more university do you have left till you graduate?
The worst 2 months ahead.
Just 2 months?
Yeah, I've got my dissertation deadline next Monday, not this one, the one after that. So fingers crossed.
And what are you hoping to do? Are you hoping to work in a pharma company or?
Yeah. So I'm doing biopharmaceutical science degree. So I have experience in lab, and I hope to be working in lab in quality control, analytical chemistry and stuff like that.
Wow, you got to get a job with somebody who makes insulin. Then it'll be free through your job.
I don't think it will
work like that. Because here, that's how it works. If you work for a pharmaceutical company that makes a drug, when your doctor prescribes that drug, you just get it for free.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have a look into that then. I'm not interested in analytical biology stuff, but I may have a look into that then.
maybe Omnipod has something over there you can work with them and get your pumps for free instead. That would be cool.
Well, I'm not an engineer. I feel like it's the engineers who are looking into Omnipod.
It might be. What got you interested? Like, how did you make the decision that this is what you would study?
So I wanted to do pharmacy at first because I was interested in biology and chemistry. I mean, I enjoy that.
Yeah.
At school. I mean, I don't enjoy it right now when I'm doing my dissertation, trust me. But so I was applying for pharmacy and I didn't get the marks for it in my finals. Mm-hmm. So the idea was to start this and do either one term or just the full first year, get high marks, and then transfer to pharmacy.
Okay.
And I liked it.
But you just found something you liked. Oh, that's really great.
Yeah, it's different, yeah.
That's excellent. I have to send Arden a text real quick. Hold on a second. I'm going to ask you to turn her basal off for a half hour. She's been more on the low side the last couple of days. I don't think she would mind me saying, but she started getting her period a few months ago. And I'm still figuring out those days.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, I'm still figuring those. I'm still figuring those out. Last night was one of the nights I was like, I think I could have taken her pump off for 6 hours. It felt like, and she didn't seem to need insulin for a while. So we were turning it way down and stuff like that. But it's going fine. It's just an adjustment. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
How are you finding the change in your approach to diabetes? Is it working for you in a way that's comfortable, or do you struggle with it sometimes, or are you still figuring it out?
No, I'm all right with it. I talk about it a lot to people around me, so I feel like they might be bothered. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised by it because I was never like interested in diabetes, and I am, and it's like unusual to me. But I'm happy with it, and I inject myself a lot. Like I should actually count it in one day, but I do a lot of smaller corrections. So I think I could do with the pump because of that. But yeah, I feel like it's going really well, and I'm so glad change came and that I didn't have any consequences for my decisions about my diet, because that could have ended up badly. So I was really lucky, and I hope someone there is like same like me. Yeah, it doesn't do anything to me. Or I'll be just one day in pain. I'll be bloated, but then I'll be fine.
It's way more than that. Yeah,
it's more serious.
Yeah, no kidding. And so you really are just you're just being more aggressive with your insulin, really.
Yeah, definitely. And then just caring about my blood sugar levels. Just way more.
Right. And so you're reacting to elevated blood sugars get insulin from you much sooner than it ever did in the past.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And this is just from having an experience, getting a little scared, going out and finding community, and then seeing that there's another way to handle things and giving it a try.
Yeah, but I don't think I got scared. I don't know what was the change, but I wasn't scared.
It wasn't that like... So when they said you're lucky you didn't, like, because I think that at some point they said, like, you could have had some really serious complications from what was going on. So it didn't. That's interesting. So you weren't afraid. You were just like, I'm gonna do this differently now.
Actually, no, it wasn't like that. So in the hospital, because I went there with the fact, okay, I'm not feeling well, and I feel weak, which is something I never experienced before. Okay. So these are new things for me, and they were like, "Yeah, it's really serious," and I was close to needing a transfusion because of how low my iron levels were, and so it was very serious. But to me, it didn't feel serious. I didn't feel like dying. So it's quite hard to process that. So I think it started when I was looking for like some gluten-free food, something that would be edible, because my first experience with gluten-free diet wasn't really amazing. I mean, it's good now. It's doable, and because of the hipster times we are in and people going gluten-free even though they don't have to. There is a lot of options now and coming more and more, so it's looking good.
So is the food, is it something you get accustomed to? Does the flavor, or do you are you not bothered by it, or does it taste better than it did?
And then, so my issue was bread, because I found this really weirdly tasting bread that wasn't nice. And in UK, you can buy like normal loaf of toast bread, and I can't tell the difference.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So what's bothering me now the most is that I have to prepare the meals mainly myself.
You just don't want to cook.
Yeah. I never wanted to cook, and here I am.
I do believe as watching my son as he turns 18, preparing food seems to be one of the horrors of his life if he ever has to do it. So I get what you. Plus, you're at school, right? It's not real conducive to you making food on your own, I guess.
Well, since this year, since September, I live 10 minutes from uni, so in my lunch break, I just go home and make something quick or heat something up, because it's just easier.
I gotcha. Yeah. No, I understand. All right. Well, I feel like I got to the bottom of most of what I was interested in. Like, I am super interested in the transfer that happened to you. I guess it's really interesting to hear you say that you're not 100% sure what happened. It just happened and you changed, because maybe it would help people to hear that it doesn't have to be a thing, or there doesn't have to be this understanding or this, wow moment that you would see in a movie. It was just one day you were like, I'm just going to do this differently. And I think that's kind of, as I was kind of struggling to understand it, now I'm looking back and I think maybe it's not important to understand. Maybe it's just happy to know that it can happen,
Yeah, definitely.
I'm really pleased for you that it did happen, obviously.
Thank you.
Yeah, no kidding. I guess I have one last question, because you said something that threw me off for a second, but you actually have to get on an airplane to go get your diabetes supplies.
Yeah, I mean, I could get them here as well.
Okay, but you get them you get them Czech Republic for free.
Yeah, I mean, I would get them here for free as well, but I mean, I just got used to it that way. It was, it's not a big deal.
And you'd go home once in a while, I imagine, to see your parents and things like that, right?
Yeah. But if I'm going to work here, I'll have to make some kind of transition, and I want to change my insulin at least, even staying with injections. And I need to change that. So, but I'm really busy, so they will have to come after me.
Yeah, because they're going to make you sit in the hospital to change your insulin.
Well, I would have to fly home, be home, and then out of that time, plan it in the hospital. Yeah, it's a lot of planning.
Yeah.
And I'm applying for jobs right now, and some of them are like, yeah, you could start at the beginning of June. And I'm like, okay, so I can't plan anything. What if I get a job?
But I do think you're right, though, and I don't know how. Obviously, I don't know your schedule, and your life is different than mine is. But I think you're 100% correct about looking for a faster acting insulin. I think that.
Well, definitely, because you and a lot of people who are using similar insulin like you do, the fast acting one, are looking to the super fast acting one, like Fias. Is it pronounced Fias?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah. But I'm like behind. So in this one group, someone was asking about who is using this insulin, and in the comments I was like, is anyone using mine? And there was a lady who said, I got taken off the insulin 1995, and that's the year I was born. And I was like, I need to make changes. This is.
Well, we definitely want to get you off of that insulin then, I think. So yeah, let's go with that, because I just Googled like diabetes UK insulin. And you can get Arden's insulin there, Apidra you can get there, and Novo Rapid, which is, Novolog, but, under a slightly different name, and Humalog's there. Yeah, it's there. I think you should do it. I want to encourage you to do it. That's all. Yeah.
No, I'm definitely planning that. So I think I got offered to change this insulin like 5 years ago. But I was not interested in diabetes, and I thought what I'm doing is working. if it's working, why fix it if it's not broken?
No, I know.
So I was like, no, I don't need it now. So maybe I had the chance to change insulin and then I missed it.
I got you. Well, and now you look back and you think, oh, it wasn't working at all. I really wish I would have done that. That's interesting.
But I don't think so. Even though I'm here where I am now with the experience I had, so because I was lucky and I don't have any consequences out of my decisions, I would do it again. Not like I'm going to repeat it, but I wouldn't take it back.
Okay.
Because eating normal diet, not gluten-free, was allowed me to move to England, because maybe that would be putting me back. Like, not only have to take care of myself with my diabetes, but I also have a special dietary requirements that will complicate everything more. Or I couldn't go to Greece to this working holiday. That there was no gluten-free food that was available to us, as I can remember right now.
You have an incredibly good attitude. I don't know if anybody's ever mentioned that to you before, but you really do. Like, you see the high side of everything. It's really nice. Like you're definitely. I don't know. I don't know what I guess I'm not as hopeful as you are, but you are incredibly I love how hopeful you are, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, I really do. Like, because everything that happened to you, like, to see a silver lining in that one thing that you just said is really kind of magical. Like, you were like, look, had I adopted my gluten-free lifestyle earlier, then I wouldn't have done this, and this wouldn't have happened, and this wouldn't have happened. I'm like, that's really, you are young. There is a joy in being young that I may have left me. So.
Oh, thank you. So I think I apply it to the rest of my life as well. So I go by not regretting anything. And when it comes to even like relationships and dating and stuff like that, because okay, maybe I was foolish when I liked that guy, and I don't know why now, but I'm not ashamed of it. I don't regret it. It was an experience, and it made me who I am now. And yeah,
that's just excellent, Alena. Really, that is really excellent. That's amazing. Your story is incredible. Like, it really. I mean, from the Czech Republic to going to the UK, and your parents your parents being like, "Hey, here's these needles. Good luck, kiddo." And from everything in between. I'm really glad we talked. It was really great. I really appreciate you reaching out and wanting to do this and taking time out in what sounds like the last 2 very busy months of your education. So
I actually didn't realize that when I was booking to call with you today, I was like, okay, well, yeah, sometimes in April, that's fine by me. And then I have 10 days to finish my dissertation now. I mean, at least 1 hour is fine. Don't worry about that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. What time is it there where you right now?
So it's going to be 4 p.m. now.
Okay. All right. So you're about 5 hours ahead of me then.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Seriously. Thank you. Is there anything we didn't cover that you wanted to get out?
No, not really. I'm glad I speak with you, because I don't have practically any diabetics around me, even though you are not diabetic yourself.
Right.
So it's just so nice to share with someone who can relate.
It's so true, right? Like, you can't have, can you imagine trying to have a conversation even a little like this with anybody who didn't understand diabetes?
And then I have to repeat, follow, you don't inject me with insulin, through the story 10 times.
They'd either be just bored out of their mind or confused or, or whatever. They would just be like, oh, this is stupid. Like, I can't listen to this and I don't understand. And you wouldn't blame them, honestly. Like, how can you understand something that's so foreign to you? It really is interesting. Well, maybe, listen, I have 5 downloads in the Czech Republic this week. Maybe your mom and dad will listen.
My mom doesn't speak English, but they know I'm going to be speaking with you today. So. Oh,
okay. And so they're not good with the English.
My mom doesn't speak. My dad does. So my dad will listen to this eventually. But,
that's really interesting. Well,
but one more thing I wanted to mention.
Go ahead.
Actually.
Go.
So I know you are like that. People shouldn't be fixed on a cure. more than like, how to make the life better with,
right.
So from my point of view, where I have different view at the pharmaceutical industry, you are very right. So even though this is just my assumption, I'm pretty sure no one is looking for a cure for diabetes. Not only it's like incredibly complicated, it's like super hard, but also we are cash flow. So yeah, they are trying to make our lives better with, CGM, insulin pump, artificial pancreas soon, hopefully. But I don't think that they are not interested in cure, even though if they want to help us, because the cash flow would stop.
Lena, I just said you were such a hopeful person, and then you switched gears on me and went the other way. You're like,
I'm like realistic.
You're like, the man's keeping us down to make our money. They're trying to get our paper. Like, you're about to break into like a rap song or something. And so,
no, it's still a business, even though it feels. It doesn't feel like
so
it.
Let me try to make you feel a little better. I know for certain that there are people whose entire life is working on a cure for a disease, and diabetes being one of them. When I say I don't live like I expected, I think it's just it's a distance of time that's, I think, maybe bigger than my lifespan. Like, I don't know that it won't happen at some point, but I don't have a ton of hope that it's going to happen anytime soon. And if it does, it might be something that people just stumble upon more so, because it takes
definitely
so much time. Now, having said like that, a company like Dexcom is an example. You just said like they're working on glucose monitoring technology. That company's not trying to cure diabetes, so right, they're not. That's not even their shot. But I don't want you to feel like there's a conspiracy, because I don't believe that there is. I don't think that people are sitting somewhere in a room with the cure for type 1 diabetes and saying,
I don't think that.
Right.
I don't think that, but I think that the resources, the money they have for research, are going into research of something like cancer, because cancer is super complex and tough and important be treated.
Mm-hmm.
But diabetes, with the things we've got now, like great insulin, and then so I feel like there's a development in the treatment, but not cure.
I understand. All right. Well, yeah. I am going to take the other side and say that I am very hopeful that people are looking for a cure. I am just not incredibly hopeful that it's going to happen tomorrow. And my point is that you can't sit back and not take good care of yourself thinking, oh, it doesn't matter because they'll fix this soon anyway and it won't matter. You need to treat your diabetes like a cure is never coming. But I am hopeful about it, though.
Yeah.
I'll be hopeful.
I won't take the whole hope.
I will be hopeful for you, too.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. and you can be hopeful for me for all the other stuff.
Okay.
But I really did enjoy talking to you. I really can't thank you enough for taking the time in this busy part of your life and talking. I really appreciate it.
No, I enjoyed it too. I mean, I would do it even without the podcast. So it was lovely.
That's very nice. Thank you so much. I need more friends, so we'll talk again.
I'm up for that, like check up if I got a pump or not.
Absolutely. Please, absolutely keep in touch. I would love to know how things are going.
Right, okay. Thank you very much. It was lovely talking to you.
It really was. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
The Juicebox Podcast is available everywhere, all over the globe, but you get to listen to it in the comfort of your home. Thanks to Omnipod, Dexcom, and Dancing for Diabetes. Go to dancingfordiabetes.com, myomnipod.com/juicebox, or dexcom.com/juicebox to find out more about the sponsors. Thank you very much for doing that. Thank you very much for all the great reviews that you guys left recently on iTunes. I much appreciate that. December's going to finish up strong. We're going to be talking about exercise and insulin and how weight is gained because of insulin and how to avoid it with Chris Rudin. We're going to be talking with Brett from Omnipod. And of course, Anthony Anderson from ABC's Blackish. We're going to finish up 2018 strong and jump right into 2019 even stronger. So you have not been listening to the podcast for very long, have you?
Not really. So I think I messaged you sometime in January.
Mm-hmm.
And I binged it, everything from 50 onwards. So I know you added the episodes that all of them are on Spotify.
Yes.
So I started with 50, and then, as you already mentioned, you kind of developed as you were recording it and were more confident. So I got used to you being more confident. So
and then you went back and I was less confident?
Yeah, but if it sounds like weird, you listening to it like in the opposite order. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I never really considered that, but that's very interesting. Yeah, when you start something like this, you don't really know what you're doing, and then you feel your way through it, and then it does get better. So, that is really cool.